Hello, welcome to Every.Good.Gift. This is a simple tutorial on how to make bar soap at home. I've been making this recipe for my household for about 8 years now. It is very gentle and has been great for my son's eczema. Depending on your mold, you can get roughly about 30 bars a batch. You can get all sorts of molds, ones with cute designs, and your basic rectangle one. I will post down below the Amazon links for the ones I'm using today. First things first, you will need to make sure you have everything in the description out and ready. I will have the weighing measurements also down there. It might be helpful to jot them down for reference. I highly recommend that you wear a long sleeve shirt when working with lye. You need to be careful. At any point you get lye on your skin, first rinse your skin with water and then with vinegar. It will neutralize the lye. It is recommended that you ventilate the area. You can turn your stove on and open your windows. Let's get started by putting on your gloves, safety eye equipment, and mask. If you don't have a mask, you can use a scarf or an item of clothing. I only cover my nose and mouth with this first step, as it is the most dangerous. But don't worry, you got this. Once you're set, place your glass bowl on the kitchen scale. Set it to grams, reset the scale to 0, and weigh out 283 grams of lye. If you go over a little like me, don't worry, use a spoon and scoop some out until you have the right measurement. Next, measure out 2 3/4 cups of water. I use just our local tap water. Now slowly pour the water in with the lye, whisking ever so gently. You don't want to splash it around. Keep whisking until all the lye is dissolved. Your lye solution will start to heat up. The temperature can rise to around 180 to 200 degrees Fahrenheit, so make sure you handle it with care. When it's done, take off the scale and place on a heat-protected surface. Now for the fat. Take your 2 bricks of lard, your 567 grams of coconut oil, and your 567 grams of olive oil, and place them in a large stainless steel stock pot. Set it on the stove at medium heat to melt. Once the fat is completely melted, take your pot off the heat. Next, you want to take the temperature of your fat and your lye. However, it is super important that you do not combine your lye and your fat. You will see me at the start using the red and wiping it somewhat unsuccessfully with one hand. I recommend that you get 2 thermometers, one for the fat and one for the lye to keep things simple. Now the goal is to cool both the lye and the fat to 100 degrees Fahrenheit. I like to fill both sides of my sink with ice water, and since my fats are much higher in temp, I am going to set it first in the sink. It's a bit of a game, just take the temps often and either fast it up by stirring, or you can slow it down by taking it out of the ice water. One helpful piece of information is that if your fat goes below 100, you can easily put it back on the stove on low for a short time to increase the heat. You, however, cannot do anything about the lye. So I like to focus more on getting those fats down first, lowering them down near the 110 degree mark, then stirring the lye solution to around 105. It's a bit of a dance going back and forth, but you can do it. Don't sweat if they aren't the exact same temperature at the end. You want them roughly between 100 and 105 degrees Fahrenheit. See here, I'm deciding that my lye should cool a little bit faster now, so I'm putting it in the ice water. So now that you have both the fat and the lye at the right temperature, you are going to get your immersion blender out and slowly pour your lye into your fat. For the remainder of this step, I'm going to speed up the video. Once it's all in, you are just going to keep mixing. It's going to take some time. If you have a cheap immersion blender like me, you might want to take little 3-minute breaks to let it cool down. I put mine in the freezer 2 to 3 times during this process because I've killed too many immersion blenders. Once you get to this consistency, if you are going to use an essential oil, you can put it in now. I only put 300 milliliters of this pumpkin spice. I would normally double it, but today I'm going to be skimpy. Keep blending until fully combined. You don't want to see any more of your essential oils. Now for the molds. If you are using individual soap bar molds, I like to put them on a cookie sheet. You are going to fill them up, and you can see here the consistency of my soap might be just a little bit too thick. It's okay if yours looks more runny. When you fill them up, you want to fill it just below the surface line. You can level it with a knife or a spatula. Here you see me taking the pan and hitting it on the counter. This is a step to remove all the bubbles in your soap. As you do it, you will see air bubbles come up. You want to keep doing this until there is no more left. This does require patience and time, but it will create a much prettier bar of soap. I didn't have as much patience today, and you'll definitely see more bubbles in my finished project because of that. Next, you're going to find some aerated cardboard and cover up your soap. Next, you're going to take some tea towels and cover them and let it sit for 24 hours. Now for the fun part, taking them out of the molds. You're going to want to put this soap on some aerated cardboard and let it cure for about a week or 2. The longer you let it cure, the longer lasting the bar will be. Here I'm showing you how to fill up your rectangle mold. I actually recommend this mold if you're new to soap making. I know the other ones are really cute, but it's just a lot easier and less finicky. Here you see that I'm doing the same process of shaking the air bubbles out. Yeah, it's fun to cut the soap bar as well. So this was soap I made the next day. You can see here it fills 2 of those molds. I didn't videotape it, but you need to put the cardboard and the towels on it as well and leave for 24 hours. It's been 24 hours. It's time to take the soap out of the mold. This is definitely one of my favorite moments of soap making. Here you can see that there's this oval, darker circle here. This sometimes happens when you are making soap. It's called a partial gel. A partial gel is entirely normal and won't affect the soap's performance or quality. So don't worry if you see this in your soap as well. My first bars in the molds didn't have this, and I think part of the reason that this might happen more is that I maybe didn't insulate the mold well enough. So maybe I did put it in a different place than I normally did by the window, so maybe next time I would maybe try putting some more towels to insulate it. But this is also sometimes, some people like the look of this, and it's really up to you. It's purely an aesthetic issue. As we come to the end of the soap making tutorial, I just want to say thanks for watching, and I hope that this is very informative and that you enjoy your soap.